Hi, everyone. So this is another example that I wanted to do with you, just for you to practice recursion. Typically, when we're going to count the consonants in a string, we are not likely going to use recursion. But just for practice sake, I want you to try this example using recursion, similar to the example we just did with respect to reversing a string. If you haven't tried it, go try it. But I want you to input a string, and I want you to use recursion to count the number of consonants in it. Okay, open up VS Code and I'll be right with you. Okay, so this is our function definition. I'm going to count the number of consonants in any particular string, my string. And to make it simpler for some of you who are new to programming, now, of course, if you've been coding in Python before and you can write a smart function to check if it's a consonant or not within your this consonant count, do that. But for those of us who are still new, I am actually going to recommend that we write another function, which is not a recursive function, but it's a really simple function that checks if a particular character is a consonant or not. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to make sure that, okay, the first thing I noticed many of you had done this in your coding throughout the last few weeks. So let's actually handle the case so that we don't have to deal with that and we don't have to compare both lower and upper. So I just changed it to uppercase. And now what I need to do, I want to find out if it's a consonant or not. The easy way to check would be if it's not a vowel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check if CH is not in, and I'm going to actually create a tuple of vowels. Okay, so A, E, I. All right, magenta, O, and U. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm checking if it's not in A, I, O, U. And then would it be a consonant? Well, maybe, but what are we missing? We are also missing the check for if it is a character or not. So we want to count only if it is a consonant. So not if it's an exclamation point, not if it's a space, not if it's a number. So we want to make sure that actually we do check if the ordinal value of this is greater than or equal to 65, and it is in fact, this is something that you should know. We've talked about it in class, but less than or equal to 90. And let's see, I need to match my parenthesis somewhere. So I'm checking if CH not in this. That's my first condition. And I've forgotten an and I'm checking that it is greater than 65 and it's less than or equal to 90. And I think that should be it. Let's see if this actually works. I am going to just call it to check if it works. Let's try that right now. And let's try it with an E. It's false, that's right. Why don't we test it out with a G? It's true, okay, that's good as well. And now finally, why don't we test it out with a space? And false. So that works. So that's the first function, and that works. So that's great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to write our recursive function. So you'll notice this function is not recursive, right? All it's doing is it's checking if a character is a consonant or not. Now we're going to call that function within our consonant count function, okay? And just like in our previous two examples where we were using, the length of the string and trying to take out one character at a time, we're going to use a similar logic. You can do it in other ways, but here's something that's simple that those of you who are new to coding with Python will get. So first, we're going to actually find the length of our string. Okay, call it my string, so probably a good idea to use the same one. So I'm going to find the length of my string. Let's think about our base case. Our base case would be, I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm going to say something like, if the length of the string is 0, okay, so if it's a blank string, then I simply return 0, okay? But if it is 1, then what I need to do, this is another base case, and you can do it a different way, and that's fine. But if you think about another base case as the string just having one character, then all I need to do is I need to check if that one character is a consonant or not. And that's what I'm going to try to do. So I'm going to try to check if that one character in my string is a consonant or not. And now for our else case, you don't have to have the else, it's optional. For our else case, we're going to return, think about the logic we used for the string function. So we're going to return the consonant count. We're going to call the recursive function again, but we're going to call it on a part of the string, which means we're going to call it on the rest of the string that doesn't include, first I need to spell my function right. Let's do that, consonant count. I'm going to call it on that part of the string that is not the first character, similar to our other question. And I'm going to compare if the first character is a consonant or not, okay? There are other ways to do this, but this is one way. Okay, so let's look at our code again. So what I've done is I've written a function that checks if it's a consonant or not, if a character is a consonant or not. I have my base case here. My parameter is just simply the string. My base case checks if the length is 0, returns 0. If the length is 1, which means if it's just a single character, then I'm going to just check for that character and return that. And if it isn't, then I'm going to actually check the first character, and then I'm going to pass the rest of the string back to the consonant count function, and that's going to return it. Okay, let's now test it out. Ready? All right, let's print consonant count. And I think our test string was good morning. Let's test that out. And you'll notice that it returned 7. Okay, you can test it out with, I think this had everything from a capitalization to vowels to exclamation points and spaces. So I think this is a good test string. Feel free to look at the code, feel free to optimize it. You can also do it other ways, but I hope this was simple enough for you to understand. And I want you to start thinking about any recursive function with those 5 steps that we've been discussing. Okay, if you have any questions, write to me and then we can talk soon. Bye.